Yeah, well, because of a strange series of assaults on postal workers, the Postal Service says it suspended mail delivery to this neighborhood here in Santa Monica to, as they put it, protect their workers.
All right, chat. Who's attacking these postal workers, man? Who you think's doing this, man? Because everything in this, we didn't make it this way. And make sure you subscribe to Ock Nation TV so you can see the live streams every Tuesday and Friday night at 9:30. The last one was a doozy. We went in pretty good on that one. You guys might want to watch that. And also, make sure you check out the merch store. Got a lot of great Ock Nation merch, and all of the merch was custom designed by me. I'm talking about down to the stitching and the material that is used. So they're all very high quality. There's no corner store t-shirt material. High quality, the same type of stuff you get in maybe stores like The Gap or Abercrombie and Fitch, that type of material. Good stuff. So make sure you go over to the merch store and cop you some Ock Nation merchandise and let people know where you stand without opening your mouth.
Yeah, well, because of a strange series of assaults on postal workers, the Postal Service says it suspended mail delivery to this neighborhood here in Santa Monica to, as they put it, protect their workers.
Mail's supposed to come no matter what.
And although the postman's motto, neither rain nor snow, nor sleet nor hail, shall keep the postmen from their appointed rounds, is usually true, attacks against postal workers in January, February, and 2 weeks ago have changed that here in the 1300 block of 14th Street in Santa Monica. The USPS posted a notice on mailboxes alerting residents of multiple incidents in which their postal workers were threatened. A police report after the January 19th incident states it was committed by a subject who lived in the area and is known to our officers and also to the mail carrier he attacked. The victim sustained a minor injury to his arm and did not require medical attention. You talked to him on Saturday?
On Friday.
You talked to him on Friday?
Afternoon, yeah.
Tara Bargioni says she talked with one of the assaulted postal workers. What did he tell you about what happened?
Just that there was somebody that had been at that property that had been, verbally harassing and, kind of coming after him with an object.
Somebody, a person, I think we already know. I think it's clear, man, who's doing this, man. They'll use the whole person. Person, man. If it was a glider, man. Listen, man. If there was a glider running around attacking postals, man. First, listen, we would have heard about it from the mainstream news media. Okay? It wouldn't have been a local story. And they would have, in some way, shape, or form, some meandering scenic route, all roads lead to Trump.
Just that there was somebody that had been at that property that had been, verbally harassing and, kind of coming after him with an object.
In the January incident, authorities say a broomstick was the object in that case. For the 200 or so who are affected,
I'm disappointed because I pay a lot of money in taxes like everyone else here.
It kind of sucks. I feel like the Postal Service could have taken care of it rather than just cutting off, our mail.
It's really frustrating because the mailbox that we have to go to retrieve our mail is not easy to park at, not easy to get in and out of.
Now, as we look at this kaleidoscope of kaleidoscope of, residents of this Santa Monica neighborhood, man, the logical mind would say, okay, this is a glider that's doing this. I mean, talk to me, man. Isn't wouldn't your logical mind say, look, okay, this is definitely a glider. This is like a 99% glider neighborhood. So the person terrorizing it to the point where the post office has decided to stop delivering mail there, that person almost has to be a glider, right? I mean, it only makes sense, right? I think that we're going to start realizing that 2020 was really a normal year. I remember thinking 2020 was the craziest year I'd ever seen. I think we're going to look back in hindsight and 2020 is going to seem normal.
I'm disappointed because I pay a lot of money in taxes like everyone else here.
It kind of sucks. I feel like the Postal Service could have taken care of it rather than just cutting off, like, you know, our mail.
It's really frustrating because the mailbox that we have to go to retrieve our mail is not easy to park at, not easy to get in and out of.
But she worries for the postal workers, and like so many others here,
Have a good one.
a good day will be when they get their mail delivery service back. The Postal Service says mail delivery service will return to this neighborhood. They just say they don't know exactly when yet. In Santa Monica, Hal Eisner, Fox 11 News. Marla, Christine, back to you.
Well, the U.S. Postal Service is refusing to deliver mail to a Santa Monica neighborhood because they say it's too dangerous. This is happening on the 1300 block of 14th Street between Arizona Avenue and Santa Monica Boulevard. KCAL9's Jeff Nguyen. He is live in Santa Monica with a look at what is happening there. Jeff, I'm sure frustrated residents.
Yeah, so Jasmine, if you were to walk down this block, you will notice that the homes and the apartments here have something in common. And
they're occupied by pasty liberals.
And that is, they have received this letter from the post office, which isn't promising a speedy delivery.
This popped up, I think it was not last night, the night before.
Courtney Smith says the post office recently left this notice at her Santa Monica apartment complex. It reads in part, delivery service is hereby suspended to all addresses located on the 1300 block of 14th Street.
And my immediate reaction was just disappointment, frustration.
The note goes on to say multiple carriers have been subjected to assaults and threats of assault from an individual who has not been located or apprehended.
An individual.
We spoke to Santa Monica police who told us the only assault case involving a postal carrier they're aware of goes back to January 9th. It happened near the corner of Arizona and 14th, where a customer attacked the carrier with a broomstick and left him with a small cut to his arm. But police say the victim ended up declining to have the case prosecuted.
And those wokesters out there do that because they feel like if they, call the police on the Sun Man, who I'm starting to believe this is, they call the police on the Sun Man, that you're sending his life in a downward spiral, an irredeemable downward spiral. You even may cost him his life with the initial interaction when the police come to arrest him. And there's enough Sunmen in jail. And by me prosecuting this or pressing charges, and I'm just part of the problem. And by not pressing charges, you're part of the problem, because now the Sun Man goes on. He can't self-regulate. He can't, turn his behavior around. He can't change his ways. And now he continues to terrorize the postal workers. And now you can't get your mail. And now none of the people on the 1300 block of 14th Street in Santa Monica can get their mail. So by being woke, you've actually not only hurt yourself, but hurt your entire community, Mr. Postman.
But police say the victim ended up declining to have the case prosecuted. Police say it's unclear if the case in January is related to newer cases that led to the stoppage in service, but a department spokesperson told us the Postal Service has its own law enforcement agency which hasn't been in touch with the PD.
Since the suspension of Daily Mail has occurred, USPS still does come to our block exclusively for delivering packages. No paper mail envelopes, just packages.
We called the Postal Service, but a spokesperson says she couldn't tell us anything beyond the letter that was sent out to customers.
So I feel a lot of compassion for the mail carrier.
Do we have a cultural appropriator? You know, only Sun women get to braid their hair, man. That's a Sun woman thing, man. You all here culturally appropriating our sister's culture, man. I think you'd be better off with a more suitable hairstyle, especially since you got these glider woman tears, and you weaponizing your glider tears to get this maniac from terrorizing your local postman. I think you deserve to have a more suitable hairstyle.
So I feel a lot of compassion for the mail carriers. They shouldn't be having to deal with that. And likewise, I feel compassion for the people that are instigating these things, because who knows what's going on with them, but
She feels compassion for the people who are instigating these things, because who knows what's going on with them. So you got the postal worker not pressing charges. You got this woman right here feeling compassion for the guy. And then they wonder why. Listen, man. This is crazy. I started this video with compassion for them. And now it's almost all gone, man.
And likewise, I feel compassion for the people that are instigating these things, because who knows what's going on with them, but not doing anything isn't the solution. And just saying, hey, come pick your mail up isn't the solution.
And for now, people on this block will have to go to the post office on 7th Street to pick up their mail, and it's unclear when service will be back to normal. We are live in Santa Monica. Jeff Nguyen, KCAL 9.
Some people living on the street in Santa Monica aren't getting mail delivered to their homes. They say the mailman just quit after being threatened by a homeless man in the neighborhood. This is over on the 1300 block of 14th Street. Now, this is the notice posted to alert everyone about it. Neighbors say the man was screaming and yelling at the mailman and apparently threatened him with a stick. That man has been identified as Devon Morgan, and police took him into custody on Friday.
Devon Morgan. Give me an idea on Devon Morgan, y'all. Devon Morgan. So Devon Morgan, man, felt that in this supremacist-based country, man, where the cops are hunting people who look like him every day, and he just can't get a fair shake. I mean, it's no point in even trying. Even Oprah Winfrey has less value in this country than some random glider baby mama in some little dilapidated Appalachian town. So this is hopeless, man. I mean, this country's nakedly racist and irredeemably, institutionally and systematically incapable of ever, being equal unless we rip up the Constitution and write a new one. And in that country, with those parameters, this Sun man has gone into this glider neighborhood and rained terror to the point where these people can't even get their mail. Ain't that something?
Neighbors say this isn't the first time this man has threatened their mailman.
He's been violent several times that we've seen. drug use, and SMPD seems at a loss. I love SMPD. I tell that to everybody. I love them. But they don't know what to do with this guy. They keep arresting him, and he gets released again 2 or 3 days later.
Hold on, man. Are you blaming the cops who arrested him? That's it. They arrested him. They're done. This isn't Miami Vice or Beverly Hills Cop or another 48 Hours or any Bad Boys, whatever cop movie this guy watched that made him think it works like that. It don't work like that. They're 3 8-hour shifts. The beat cops patrol their beat. When a call comes into the dispatcher, she relays it over to the radio. The cops that are closest to the address, if they're not currently having an interaction with the community, they respond to that call. It's completely random. And they show up on the scene, and they arrest the guy, and they take him to the station, and they process him and put him in the cell and write up the report. They're done with it. Unless they got to come to court and testify, which in cases like this, obviously, DA's going to throw this out. But cops, all the cops can do is arrest him. What? I thought you gliders had high IQs, man. I thought y'all was smarter than us, man. Maybe this is just maybe this is maybe it's senile. I don't know, dementia. I don't know. Maybe something going on because you glad supposed to be. Y'all supposed to be the ones with the high IQs, man. It had nothing to do with the cops. The cops arrested him. That's all they can do, man. It's the DAs, it's the prosecutors, and it's the voters who begged for bail reform, and you got it.
He's been violent several times that we've seen, drug use, and SMPD seems at a loss. I love SMPD. I tell that to everybody. I love them. But they don't know what to do with this guy. They keep arresting him, and he gets released again 2 or 3 days later.
No word on if Morgan has been released from jail. Neighbors can still get their mail at a nearby post office, but they say the process is tedious without their mailman.
Attacked for doing their jobs. A Santa Monica neighborhood may be too dangerous for mail delivery. The U.S. Postal Service has suspended some service following a string of assaults and threats on several carriers. Now, it affects people living on the 14th Street, on 14th Street near Arizona Avenue. KCAL 9's Cara Finstrom spoke with people who witnessed the assaults.
I saw him screaming and yelling, and the guy was very scared, and I saw him run off.
Jim Price witnessed one of the attacks on postal workers in his neighborhood that prompted notices on mailboxes and the suspension of delivery services. He says the same man, Devon Morgan, has terrorized the Santa Monica neighborhood for years, causing him to call police at least 50 times.
Damn, Devon. And this guy's lucky, man, because they voted out there to make it illegal for gliders to call police on some people, man. They if you remember, even before the summer of Floyd, Barbecue Becky and what's the other one? Coupon Carl and a bunch of other names they gave these people out there. When these gliders are calling the police on these sudden people, man, and it was a lot of different incidents, man, out there. And so they just decided, man, look, man, it's racial. This is all racial. The reason gliders call the police on Sunman is racial. It has nothing to do with behavior. It's all racial. And they passed these laws, man. This guy calling the police on, he calling the police on one son, man, 50 times, man. He's brave glider, man. He's a brave glider, man. 50 times.
I I saw him screaming and yelling, and the guy was very scared, and I saw him run off.
Jim Price witnessed one of the attacks on postal workers in his neighborhood that prompted notices on mailboxes and the suspension of delivery services. He says the same man, Devon Morgan, has terrorized the Santa Monica neighborhood for years, causing him to call police at least 50 times.
Just begging and pleading for something to be done. He gets arrested and he gets released a couple days later. He walks around with a golf club over his back. It's a wood, and he carries it around, and it's very threatening to people.
A Santa Monica police spokeswoman confirmed a postal worker identified 38-year-old Devon Morgan as his attacker in January. The letter carrier said Morgan came after him with a broomstick, cutting his arm, but declined to press charges. Police also confirmed Morgan was arrested this past Friday on unrelated vandalism charges. Our check of LA County Sheriff records show he's been booked multiple times on various charges. The USPS has its own law enforcement agency and tells us in the last few months there have been 3 separate incidents involving 3 separate postal workers, all on the same block.
Wow. So Devon's been busy, man. This is the world they created, man. God. And listen, I know we all make mistakes. We all do stupid stuff. Listen, I made some of the most egregious mistakes in life. You got to live with your mistakes sometimes, man. Sometimes you can't fix things. Well, sometimes things aren't fixed immediately. Sometimes you bite off more than you can chew. Sometimes you bark up the wrong tree. It happens, man. And listen, man, that's all well and fine. Everyone does that. But when you're like arrogant about it, like these pasty liberals were, they were like preaching to people and talking down to people and being all high-minded about how, their way was the right way, and they knew that this was the way that things needed to be, and anybody who didn't agree with them needed to have, their social media accounts taken. They needed to, not work where they worked at. They needed to be harassed. They needed to be doxxed. They needed to be, chased off of social media. They even needed to be confronted in public. Anybody who was saying, look, man, I don't think this is a good idea. I think you guys might be going too far with this, defunding the police, not prosecuting certain crimes, bail reform, not making it so these guys get out the next day. You guys might be going to, these same people we see in this video were not very nice to people like us who were saying, hey, man, wait a second, what? Okay, you want chaos and anarchy, but we live here too, man. What about us, man? Why are you speaking for all of us? They shut us down, man. Now they got to deal with Devon, man. Devon Ray Morgan, man.
Our check of LA County Sheriff records show he's been booked multiple times on various charges. The USPS has its own law enforcement agency and tells us in the last few months there have been 3 separate incidents involving 3 separate postal workers, all on the same block. We spoke with another neighbor who didn't want to be identified. She says she saw the last attack early last week.
I came home one afternoon and his cart was kicked over and there was mail all over the street.
A nearby business owner who didn't want to go on camera also told us Morgan attacked one of her employees. Neighbors say he sometimes stayed with a woman who used to live here and was often incoherent and angry. They're hoping something will be done now that federal employees have been attacked.
It's insane.
And Santa Monica PD tells us they believe Morgan has been released since that last arrest. USPS says this is a very unusual step for them, but at this point, they don't know when mail delivery here will resume. Cara Finstrom, KCAL 9 News.
Team Street. So, nothing's changed. It's exactly how it was before this episode started. The postal workers are delivering the mail, and Devon Ray Morgan is still on the streets, living in this neighborhood, shacking up with some woman and wandering the streets with a golf club and a broomstick, speaking incoherent babble into the air and menacing the residents and the people who work in that neighborhood. So at the end of the day, all this was for nothing.